Okay, so before we get any further, thank you in advance for watching this video, and if you want to support the channel, which would be much appreciated, then like, subscribe, and make sure you ring the bell to keep getting notifications of new videos that come out. Going to keep pushing on with WoW classic material, a little bit of retail that's going to get thrown in the mix, as well as obviously the card trick stuff that if you're here watching a WoW video, you're probably not bothered about that. But yeah, as I say, like, subscribe, keep coming back. Thank you. Just want to take a quick sort of 10 minutes maximum, let's say 10 minutes, and I'm going to just show you. I'm not going to show you anything, actually. I'm just going to talk to you. So just going to have just a quick chat, just my thoughts so far on Blackwing Lair. So Blackwing Lair, week 1, obviously we've cleared it. I just want to have a little chat about it. So if I keep looking down, it's because I'm looking at my laptop screen that's directly in front of me, just so I don't get things wrong, because there's quite a bit I want to cover in quite a short space of time. So firstly, difficulty of Blackwing Lair, from let's say difficulty overall, and then we'll look more sort of feral focused. So difficulty overall, no, it's not difficult. We had a few wipes. I don't know an exact number. Let's say maybe 7 total, which I appreciate. It's quite high. The majority of those was on Val, which we was having problems with for one reason or another just on the first night. Obviously it's not a hard fight, but I think we was just too scared about over aggroing the tanks. The threat meters we were using just wasn't working. The tank wasn't even showing up on it, so there was a lot of holding back. But as soon as we was like, forget about it, just nuke, give the tank 2 seconds before we start, and then we just banged it down, no problems at all. I passed quite low on that. Well, it was 99th percentile still, but there's not that many feral druids, let's be fair, feral cats anyway. But my DPS was just under a K, which next week it's going to be a lot higher than that. It was just, I was using Cower, and I've been doing a lot of research into Cower as well, if you care. On WoW Wiki and various other sources, it says it reduces threat. So the rank we've got at level 60 reduces threat by 800. I can't get it to reduce threat by 800, or my threat meter is not working, one or the other. I get a maximum of about 400 generally. It's very hard to get, it might be 450. I don't know. It's very hard to get, specific. But if I've got like somewhere between 1 and 1.5k threat, it's gonna drop down somewhere between sort of 700 and 1.1k. Yeah, so it's around 400. If this is just my threat meter bugged or whatever, feel free to mention in the comments that no, it is 800, but it's not for me. So then when we look at that in the grand scheme of things, I was using Cower pretty much on cooldown, massively gimps your damage. And when I say massively, let's say for the reward, what's the reward? 400 threat reduction. Let's say more or less 1 damage is 1 threat, more or less how it works at the moment, with obviously no modifiers to threat reduction on abilities or threat increase on abilities, which we haven't got any of that. So let's just say point for point. So when you're doing 1k DPS on Val and it reduces your threat by 400, it's less than half a second's worth of DPS. It's really not worth it. You're doing 1,000 damage, 400 threat reduction. It's not even half a second, 0.4 seconds of DPS. What you might as well do is just delay a shred without energy capping. But and you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't delay a shred. I'm not suggesting you do that, but that's just an example. If you was to delay a shred by half a second, you're now going to be in the same threat position you was when you cowered and then shredded afterwards. So more or less, obviously, I know I'm not taking into account global cooldown, so that's another second. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's pointless using it. You need to just be able to nuke. So me personally, I won't be doing that next week because it's just largely unnecessary. I'm a big fan of doing things properly. If Cower was useful, I wouldn't just say no, I'm not using it because I want to do max damage. I would Cower. I'll do whatever I need to do. I don't like coming out and combat resing because it's a damage loss, but we do it. So Razor Gore, free loot. Val should be free loot. We made it look more difficult than it actually is. Broodlord, yeah, as long as you can do the suppression room, again, it's pretty much free loot. Firemore, probably the difficult one in there because it requires a couple of tanks who absolutely know exactly what they're doing, and you're relying on your DPS, line of sight, and everything like that, which massively just is annoying not being able to just nuke full time on the boss, but you know, hey ho. Ebon Rock, Flame Gore, both of them, let's face it, if you've done Firemore, Ebon Rock and Flame Gore are not going to give you any issues whatsoever. Chromagus, so Chromagus is very easy, in my opinion, very easy. I might even have some footage of it, I'm not sure, but I'm going to do a bit more of a deep dive into the bosses and their mechanics from a feral perspective, maybe in a future video for maximising damage, much like I've done for Molten Core. But Chromagus, we had time lapse, breath, and it was still very easy. You know, I think we wiped, I want to say twice, but that was purely because we didn't. Probably 75% of our raid have never done Blackwing Lair. They didn't play vanilla. They didn't play private server. So there's only like a really small amount of us that I didn't really play private servers. I did for about 3 months before Classic launched. But you know, I'm not one of these who played. Yeah, I was playing retail, but I did play in vanilla, and I did raid in vanilla and cleared everything up to 4 horsemen in Nax. So you know, I understand what you've got to do on these fights. I'm a little bit rusty, don't get me wrong. You know, I forget things. It's been 15 years at the end of the day. But Chromagus, yeah, a couple of wipes just to work out how we was going to handle the time lapse, and then it was just ridiculously easy. Yeah, so easy. Same with Nefarian. Nefarian is an absolute joke. I would probably go as far as saying Nefarian is easier than a couple of Molten Core bosses. You know, I mean, Ragnaros, just stand there and nuke, so I won't use Ragnaros, but there's nothing to Nefarian. You stand there and you kill one ad at a time as they spawn. Easy. Then you go and nuke the boss. Every now and again it does a class call, which most of them do nothing. Or nothing that majorly impacts the mechanics or the tactics to the boss. And then the last phase, he summons loads of skeletons. Every raid's got 4 or 5 mages. You more or less, they just AoE them down on their own pretty much. The melee could just stay on the boss. We didn't, you know, everyone just went and nuked them down, especially if you use Stratholm Holy Water as well on them. If you've got like a raid full of people with Stratholm Holy Water, they just go, they're dead. So yeah, overall, I'd say the trash is harder than the bosses. Yeah, the trash, we didn't wipe on trash, but you know, there's a lot of deaths, a lot of downtime and stuff like that. But the trash is probably more challenging and got more mechanics involved than the majority of the bosses in there. So overall, as a raid, I would say too easy or easier than I was hoping. You know, I was hoping for a real challenge, you know, maybe a few weeks or 2 to 3 weeks of maybe going in, you know, clearing 5, 6 bosses, struggling on Chromagus, Nefarian, you know. I'm not saying I like wiping, but when you wipe for, you know, 3, 4 nights on a boss, then you kill it, it's much more satisfying than going in and one-shotting it when it's new content, old new content, you know. So I like that feeling of wiping, you know, refining the tactics, maybe not just going by what other people say they do and coming up with your own sort of niche strategies you use. But obviously there's none of that, and there's not going to be any of that probably until Nax, because I don't even think AQ is going to be as challenging as most of us remember it. I think it will be more challenging than Blackwing Lair. That's not difficult, but Blackwing Lair, Molten Core, I would put those on in the same sort of difficulty range. Blackwing Lair might have seemed slightly more difficult just because we're not used to it. You're not used to it, you know, as in you've been doing Molten Core where you just go in and pretty much ignore most tactics and nuke the bosses down. These, alright, it's got 1 or 2 tactics on each boss that you have to pay attention to. So, but overall, a bit lackluster for me. Now from that, so that was an overall raid perspective. Now what's it like as a feral DPS druid? This is probably the bit that hopefully you're watching this for, because you're probably a feral druid anyway. Not good, as in, well, some of it's alright, but obviously we get punished. A feral druid gets punished very heavy for moving away from the boss or target switching. and there's lots of that in Blackwing Lair. So I'm not going to comment too much on Razor Gore, because on Razor Gore I was doing the orb controlling, for the breaking the eggs until the tank broke the last one, obviously. I probably wasn't the ideal person to do it, but I got asked to do it purely because I'd done it in the past. I'm not saying it's difficult, but we just wanted to be safe on the first run through. I probably won't be doing it in future. I might do it for maybe the next raid, and then maybe get a backup orb controller to take over, or do the first bit or something like that. I don't know. We'll work that out. But yeah, obviously I want to rank on Warcraft logs, so I don't really want to be running around as a bloody dragon. Anyway, so Razor Gore, not going to comment until I've actually done it, but I can tell you now, without doing it, it's going to suck. And it's going to suck because there's loads of target switching, different mobs that you have to, you're running around all over the place. Nightmare for feral druids. And it's been a nightmare for feral druids for, going into future expansions as well. It's not like, in classic, target switching is rubbish for ferals. It's going to be that way all through TBC. And I think in Wrath, don't take this for gospel, but it was either Wrath or Cataclysm when your combo points carried on to the next target. So then it weren't as bad. Please, correct me in the comments. I'm not looking that up. I'm just spitballing. Valstraz, from a feral perspective, is obviously amazing. You can use a different head, so you haven't got to use Wolfhead's helm. And just stand there, just shred, ferocious bite, shred, ferocious bite, shred. Yeah, it's amazing. But threat is an issue, and threat's always an issue for us. We haven't got Vanish, we haven't got Feign Death. The warriors are low on threat to begin with. It's not until it gets under 20% where they start having problems. We're having problems from the second we pull. If you think how quick you can over aggro when you're into power shift, take the power shifting out completely, and now just nuke with a full energy bar. I know the tank, has got a full rage bar, he can heroic strike spam, blah, 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 but ferals put out, a good feral, with manual crowd pummeler especially, puts out serious threat. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful, but, again, your tank might have Thunder Fury already and just be doing crazy threat anyway. Ours needs another 4 ores before he can get it, but, excuse me. But that's Val. Broodlord, horrible. Suppression room's horrible. Of course it's horrible. We're playing a feral druid where mobs are dying before we can even get 5 combo points, so all we get to do is a couple of shreds. The boss, obviously perfect. You just stand behind it, just do your normal rotation, get knocked back into a wall, carry on. Nothing really to talk about there. The boss itself is decent. Suppression room for us is awful. Firemore, again, awful. You're having to run and stand behind a wall line of sighting for half the fight. It's just you feel wasted. At least as I'm sure the majority of the melee all feel the same way, obviously, but due to how we work, where we're reliant on quickly building up combo points, ferocious biting, if you get in and that's all you can do is get to 4 or 5 combo points, and then you've got to run out before you even get to use your ferocious bite. It's just very frustrating. I'm sure as the weeks go on, as the gear gets better, be able to take more stacks or stay in longer, or maybe change the positioning slightly or something like that. Again, this is all just my opinion, so don't take it for gospel, or don't shoot me down in the comments saying you don't know what you're talking about, because I do know what I'm talking about, because it's stuff that's coming out of my head. I'm not like reading off of Wowhead or anything like that. These are my thoughts, so you'll have your own thoughts. You might think Firemore's easy and amazing for feral because you can go in, you can do a quick bit of burst, run out, regen, go back in. I don't feel that way. Ebon Rock and Flame Gore, both of them, you just stand there and nuke. Beautiful, great for a feral fight. That's what you want. It's patchwork style fight. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. Chromagus, not too bad. You are still running out and line of sighting, the breaths, but it don't feel like it's long because you've got that cast time when he does the breath. So as long as your raid leader's not calling out to run out like 20 seconds before for whatever reason, you can, half a second before he's cast, the cooldown's up, That's enough. You're literally out for 2 seconds, bang, straight back in, carry on nuking. So I don't mind Chromagus. I would recommend saving, like manual crowd pummeler. Depending on how quick you kill it, you may kill it in 90 seconds. I don't think we did kill it in 90 seconds because at the end we had time lapse, so that probably makes a bit of a difference. Yeah. I'll have to see as we get the different breaths, but I'm pretty sure my manual crowd pummeler, all 3 charges had run out at the end. So this would have actually have been a perfect opportunity for me to listen to you guys in the comments. A guy called Medal actually mentioned in my Phase 3 BIS video, which I'll put a link up to now, the value of Draconic Maul, or even we were specifically talking about Draconic Maul, so I'll just talk about that, not any other weapons. He was saying, the value of it gets even higher once you're at a fight that lasts about 2 minutes. Reason for that is obviously once you've used your 90 seconds worth of manual crowd pummeler, if you equip another one, you're going to have to wait 30 seconds before you can pop it again. So you're better off just banging on a really high damage weapon for that last 30 seconds. So brilliant comment, Medal. Thank you for that. After going back, looking at the edit, I thought I better clarify. When I say high damage, I don't mean high DPS. I mean high damage through stats, i.e. high strength, high crit, whatever. Thought I better clear that up. So, yeah, that's Chromagus. Perfectly decent fight, even with time lapse, it was alright. And then Nefarian, like I said, even from a feral perspective, it's an absolute joke. The first bit's a little bit annoying, because you're just like, you're never going to get 5 combo points on one of those ads that spawn, because they just die too quick. So you might get 2 or 3 shreds maximum, and then it dies, then 2 or 3 shreds, it dies. So it's very hard to get high damage on that first part. But then Nefarian itself, you just stand there and nuke. The only time you get feared, if you've got a lot of dwarf priests, or if you're horde, then and you can get a tremor totem in your group, then perfect. Or get fear ward from dwarf priest if you can. I appreciate that you might not be the highest damage. Why would they put it on you? Obviously you need to make sure it's on the tank, but there might be a couple of DPS rogues, for example, that you want fear wards going on. But me personally, I would be begging for it, because why not? If you can get away with it, do it. And then the trash is just effing awesome. Awful. It's terrible. Hate it. Don't even want to talk about it. Just trash is bad. Just once you kill a boss and then there's some trash afterwards, just go AFK. Just say that, I don't know, your baby's just woke up, or I don't know, your mum's kicking you out the house, so you've just got to quickly move your PC somewhere else. I don't know. Make up the worst excuse possible, or just be honest. Just be honest and say you're going to go and watch some adult entertainment for 10 minutes to relieve. Anyway, so yeah, that's my opinions on Blackwing Lair anyway. So I hope you enjoyed it. As I say, this is all just my opinions. It's not my experience of week 1. Tell me what you want to see next. I mean, I've got a few videos lined up, so obviously I had someone request a bit of an in-depth look at my UI and macros that I use and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to start doing directly as after editing this. And then I've got a few others planned. Nothing major, to be honest with you. I'm actually going to be doing a collaboration with somebody from the guild. His name's Arcade. So he's a very, very, very experienced paladin as a whole, but we're going to be specifically doing a rep paladin guide together. So it's going to be in the same format pretty much as my feral druid guide, which you can look at up there. Nice one. But I'm going to be just asking him the questions. He's going to be doing all the talking and telling you exactly what you want to be doing on your rep paladin in Blackwing Lair and Molten Core and anything else, probably PvP as well. And obviously he's a champion because he's got Hand of Ragnaros, so he must know what he's talking about if he's got that really hard to obtain legendary. Good job, Arcade. So yeah, that's me done. If you enjoyed it, like I said at the beginning, like and subscribe, really helps a lot. Keep coming back for more content. I'm going to try and get a video out today and a video out tomorrow. Preferably I want to get them both out today, and then start planning some future content as well, because I want to keep it relevant. I want you to enjoy what you're watching. So again, if you tell me what you want to see, I'll do it. I mean, I'm dabbling in retail a little bit as well now, which don't shout at me for. It's just there's only so much content in Classic, so I'm sort of broadening my horizons slightly. I've not played since the very, very, very first 2 weeks of Legion, so I've got all the BFA to do and everything, so it's going to be quite fun, to be fair, But yeah, peace out.